Shalom, shalom. It's your boy, Mr. B. Israel, aka Minister Whisper.
Let's get him. I was hoping in the dark, but now I see the light. I got the victory, son, I'm putting up a fight. I'm never leaving my angels, I see them taking flight. I hear the trumpet, they're blowing, it's time to get it right. I was walking in the dark, but
Today
now
we're
I
gonna go
see the
into
light. I got the victory,
the book of
son, I'm
Jasher.
putting up a fight.
The book of
I'm never
Jasher.
leaving my angels, I see them taking flight. I hear
See
the
what the
trumpet,
Father's
they're
talking about. A
blowing,
lot
it's
of
time to get it right.
people don't touch this book, so we're gonna go into it. Found this book very interesting, and a lot of churches, a lot of people kind of shy away from it. They, even though it's in the scriptures, they really don't touch the magnitude of this book. And there was one thing specific that really touched me, and it's always stuck in the back of my mind, and that was the book of Jasher, and it was the story of Enoch and how he was so great. So let's dive into it. Jasher, or the book of Jasher, chapter 1. And Elohim said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness." And Elohim created man in his own image. And Elohim formed man from the ground, and he blew into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living being endowed with speech. And Yahweh said, "It is not good for man to be alone. I will make a helper for him." And Yahweh caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept, and he took away one of his ribs, and he built flesh upon it, and formed it, and brought it to Adam. And Adam awoke from his sleep, and see, a woman was standing before him. And he said, "This is a bone of my bones, and it shall be called woman, for this has been taken from man." And Adam called her name Hawa, for she was the mother of all living. I'm just going to stop there for a second. So if you read the Bible, if you read the scriptures, you see that basically the beginning of Jasher is similar to the beginning of the book of Genesis. So what we're going to find in this book is that things that are missing, or things that were taken out of the Bible, or taken out of the King James Bible, or the NIV, or all these other new translations, you'll find in the book of Jasher. Continuing on. And Elohim Barak, or blessed them, and called their names Adam and Hawa in the day that he created them. And Yahweh Elohim said, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth." And Yahweh Elohim took Adam and his wife, and he placed them in the Garden of Eden to tend it and to keep it. And he commanded them and said to them, "From every tree of the garden you may eat, from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat. For in the day that you eat of it, you shall certainly die." So we see in verse 7 that the Father talks about and tells us about the things that were good for us, and things that were good for our body to eat. And then as you look in the book of Deuteronomy, or you look in the book of Leviticus, especially the book of Leviticus, the Father goes into more detail as far as the plants and the herbs and foods that we should eat and we should not eat. Verse 8, and when Elohim had Barak, or blessed, and commanded them, he went from them, and Adam and his wife dwelt in the garden according to the command which Yahweh had commanded them. And the serpent, which Elohim had created with them in the earth, came to them to incite them to transgress the command of Elohim which he had commanded them. And the serpent enticed and persuaded the woman to eat from the tree of knowledge. And the woman listened to the voice of the serpent, and she transgressed the word of Elohim, and took from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and she ate, and she took from it, and also gave to her husband, and he ate. So for all those who have a problem with the book of Jasher, as we're continually reading this, you still see that it is in confirmation with the story in Genesis. Okay, so there's a reason why it was put into the scriptures. There's a reason why there was a reference into the scriptures according to the book of Jasher, and there's no reason for us to be taking it out. Okay, reading on. And Adam and his wife transgressed the command of Elohim which he commanded them, and Elohim knew it. And his wrath was kindled against them, and he cursed them. And Yahweh Elohim drove them that day from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from which they were taken. And they went and dwelt to the east of the Garden of Eden. And Adam knew his wife Hawa, and she bore 2 sons and 3 daughters. Now, I used to ask myself when I was younger, it always used to bug me out. It's like, who in the world did Cain sleep with? Was there another set of people? Or, how did Cain, who was Cain's wife? But when you read in the book of Jasher, you understand that Cain actually married his sister. Okay. Verse 13, and she called the name of the firstborn Cain, saying, I have gotten a man from Yahweh. And the name of the other she called Hebel. For she said, in worthlessness we came into the earth, and in worthlessness we shall be taken from it. And the boys grew up, and their father gave them a possession in the land. And Canaan was a tiller of the ground, and Hebel a keeper of sheep. And it came to be at the passing of a few years that they brought an approximating offering to Yahweh. And Cain brought from the fruit of the ground, and Hebel brought from the firstlings of his flock, from the fat of it. And Elohim turned and inclined to Hebel and his offering, and a fire came down from Yahweh from the Shamayim and consumed it. So the blessings that Abel gave was a lot better, or not to say but a lot better, but a lot honest than the offerings that Cain gave, and we'll see this. And Yahweh did not turn, and Yahweh did not turn to Canaan and an offering. He did not incline to it, for he had brought from the inferior fruit of the ground before Yahweh. So Canaan was very selfish. Okay, Canaan withheld the best from the Most High. He withheld the best from the Father and gave him, the scraps, basically. And Canaan was jealous against his brother Hebel because of this, and he sought a pretense to slay him. And then sometime after, Canaan and Hebel, his brother, went one day into the field to do their work, and they were both in the field, Canaan tilling and plowing his ground, and Hebel feeding his flock. And the flock passed over that part which Canaan had plowed in the ground. And for this, it bitterly grieved Canaan. And Canaan approached his brother Hebel in wrath, and he said to him, what is there between you and I, that you come to dwell and bring your flock to feed in my land? And Hebel answered his brother Canaan and said to him, what is there between you and I, that you should eat the flesh of my flock and clothe yourself with their wool? So we see the controversy here, the fighting between siblings, the fighting between brothers, sisters. We see that every day today, but this is the beginning of it. This is the beginning of, the picking at each other, and the fact that Canaan knew that he was doing wrong and he was jealous of his own brother. Now we see this a lot today. And now therefore put off the wool of my sheep, for which you have clothed yourself, and recompense me for their increase in flesh which you have eaten. And when you shall have done this, I will then go from your land as you have said. And Canaan said to his brother Hebel, indeed, if I slay you this day, will you require your blood from me? So Canaan was just basically pissed off, And Hebel answered Canaan, saying, indeed, Elohim, who has made us in the earth, he will avenge my cause, and he will require my blood from you, should you slay me. For Yahweh is the judge and the authority, and it is he who will repay man according to his evil, and the wicked man according to the wickedness that he may do upon the earth. So why be so hateful against your brother? This is what we see today. Because your brother might have more than you, or your brother might give a more earnest gift than you. So you want to hate your own brother. You want to kill your own brother instead of doing what's right. This is what we see today. People not trying to do what's right within the realm of the Most High. Verse 23, and now if you should slay me, here indeed Elohim knows your secret thoughts, and will judge you for the evil which you declared to do me this day. And when Canaan heard the words which Hebel, his brother, had spoken, see, the wrath of Canaan was kindled against his brother Hebel for declaring his word. Because of the word, just because of the simple word that Hebel spoke. Now, how many times we see this today? How many times we see people standing up for themselves, or standing up for the righteousness, or standing up for the truth. And people continuously get mad because of the word. And it's not really your word, but it's the word of the Most High, it's the word of the Father. And they're getting upset because of the word in itself. There is power in the word. And Cain hastened and rose up and took the iron part of his plowing instrument, with which he suddenly smote his brother, and he slew him. And Canaan spilled the blood of his brother Habel upon the earth, and the blood of Habel streamed upon the earth before the flock. And after this, Canaan repented, having slain his brother, and he was sadly grieved, and he wept over him, and it troubled him exceedingly. So after, I tell my children all the time that for every action there is a reaction. Okay, so Cain slew his brother. In his wrath, he takes this instrument and cracks his brother in the head with it and kills him. And after he kills him, now he's feeling distraught. Oh my, you know what I'm saying? Now all of a sudden he's not angry anymore. And it's like, what have I done? How many times have we let our anger, get before us, and instead of just sitting there and thinking, for a second about how we can handle it better? And after this, Canaan repented, having slain his brother, and he was sadly grieved, and he wept over him, and it troubled him exceedingly. And Canaan rose up and dug a hole in the field, wherein he put his brother's body, and he turned the dust over it. He buried his own brother. No, he killed his brother. He was mad at his brother. He killed his brother. So how many things do we see? We see jealousy here. We see wrath here. We see anger here. We see death here. Verse 28, and Yahweh knew that Canaan had done to his brother, and Yahweh appeared to Canaan and said to him, where is Habel, your brother, that was with you? And Canaan pretended and said, I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper? And Yahweh said to him, what have you done? The voice of your brother's blood cries to me from the ground where you have slain him. How many times do we pretend like the Father does not see what we're doing? Or we act like he can't see, or we act like the angels that he set before us or upon us, the watchers, don't see or don't hear everything that we're doing. And like we're doing it in secret. No, we're not doing it in secret. The Father sees everything. Everything is being written down. Okay? So now Canaan has to add something else to his sins. Now he has to add lying to the Most High. The Father said, the voice of your brother's blood cries to me from the ground where you have slain him. For you have slain your brother and have pretended before me. You have pretended you are a liar. And thought in your heart that I did not see you, nor knew all your actions. The Father said, I know everything. I know your actions. I know what you're going to do. I see it. I saw when you killed your brother. I saw when you was angry. I saw when you was jealous. I saw when you was plotting. I saw all that. But you did this matter and slew your brother for naught, but because he spoke rightly to you. And now, therefore, cursed are you from the ground which opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand, and wherein you buried him. He said, but you did this matter and slew your brother for naught, but because he spoke rightly. Because he spoke the word. How many people are going to be killed in the last days, in these last times, because of the word that they speak? And it shall be, when you shall till it, it shall no more give you a strength in the beginning. For the ground shall produce thorns and thistles, and you shall be moving and wandering in the earth until the day of your death. And at that time Canaan went out from the presence of Yahweh, from the place where he was, and he went moving and wandering in the land toward the east of Eden, he and all that belonged to him. The Father's word is final. What he says is going to happen. Regardless of how you feel, regardless of how you figure you're going to change it, all right? His word is the word, okay? And the word is the judge. And Canaan knew his wife in those days, and she conceived and bore a son, and he called his name Hanak, saying, in that time Yahweh began to give him rest and quiet in the earth. And at that time Canaan also began to build a city, and he built the city, and he called the name of that city Hanak, according to the name of his son, for in those days Yahweh had given him rest upon the earth, and he did not move about and wandered as in the beginning. And Arad was born to Hanak, and Arad brought forth Mahuel, and Mahuel brought forth Methuselah. So I'm going to stop there. That's the first chapter of the book of Jasher, the book of Jasher, the first chapter. So we see a lot of things. We see a lot of connections in this first chapter of this book with the scriptures. So don't let anybody tell you that, oh, it's a lost book. It's not really right. It's the connections, the confirmations are here in the scriptures. And as we continue to read on, you're going to see so many things that were taken out of the original Bible that's going to start putting everything together and start making sense to you. All right, this is your boy Yosef Ben Israel. This is Connected. We're doing the book of Jasher. If you get a chance, if you don't have it, get it. I use the Hallelujah Scriptures book of Jasher. Great book. Check it out.
Let's blow the smoke of a dead demon. More screaming for me to preach the word to people sleeping. Hope creeping around the earth, the last supper seeking. False teachings about the Sabbath, Sunday never changed it. Illuminati, they always go try and rearrange it. I'm sick of blasphemy, gapping and talk about my king. My sword is sharp and it's ready to cut up anything. I'm a faith walker. I back everything I say cause I'm a faith talker. Until it's coming to a brother, it's too much sin. You better be